Hello and welcome to me. Today I want to talk about something that is not book or Formula One related, surprisingly. As you can maybe tell, I have recently cut my hair, kind of on a whim. That was because I had some thoughts about the way I present myself. I've always had like a bit of a confusing relationship with how I present myself and the way I dress. I've gone through several different fairly distinct phases, I would say. I had a big tomboy phase in high school, and then in my first bit of uni, I figured out that I was queer, and in the classic queer experience, decided to dress the part. So I mainly wore like tank tops and flannel shirts. I still like a tank top and a flannel shirt, don't get me wrong, but I have recently noticed that my style has changed quite a bit, and obviously changing your style and developing as a person is nothing bad, but I wasn't sure I liked it because I currently notice myself kind of conforming more to ideals of womanhood and how women are supposed to present themselves. I've gotten into painting my nails. I would like to figure out how to do my makeup in a way I like. I wear more typically feminine clothing, and I feel like my general presentation, the way I act, is kind of conform with that as well, to a degree. But I feel like that might be not what I truly want to be or be seen as or present myself as. Rather, I think it's because I've gotten used to fitting in, because that's kind of accidentally the place I found myself in a bit more than during my high school and uni time, when I was like more obviously queer and not as like gender typical. And because I fit in more than I was used to for a while now, I think I've gotten used to it. And when I notice myself being interested in stuff that is slightly more out of the norm, I've realized that I am a bit afraid of trying that out and being perceived, and the way that people's perception of me might also change. I don't like that I feel like I could come across as straight, because that's not me. But the reason I'm talking about this now is because I realized one big example for that fear is that I thought about my buzz cut. I had a buzz cut for 3 years-ish, between 2018 and 2020. I feel like looking back, I was always really confident and comfortable in that hairstyle. I didn't just get it to be like countercultural or something like that. I also just got it because I got sick of my hair and taking care of my hair, and the way I felt like I could never make a hairstyle work, or it was too much of a fuss, so I just cut it off. But I stuck with that for quite a bit. And then I was like, oh, maybe long hair is nice. And that's how we're here. But I realized that when I thought about that buzz cut and I thought, hey, maybe it would be cool to go back to it, one of the reasons, not the only one, but one of the reasons that I was hesitant was I think that I was afraid of how people's perception of me might change. And then I thought about it and was like, that's, obviously not the reason I want to do things or not do things out of fear. It's also really silly because while I feel like I am kind of striving towards femininity at the moment, or that I have been in recent times. I don't know how long, probably a couple of years. I also do not feel like I've reached that or gotten even close in terms of body hair, in terms of makeup, in terms of behavior. So I feel like on one hand, I kind of strive to fulfill that ideal, as embarrassing as that sounds to me, even, because why would I want that? But I'm just being honest, like that's kind of where I'm at, and I feel like that is something I strive towards. And then I realize if I, on one hand, feel like I don't fulfill that ideal of femininity that I seem to be striving towards, but even the amount of conforming I feel like I'm doing right now is too much, and I'm not actually comfortable with how I present because it feels not true to me, then what am I doing? Then I'm in like this weird no man's land in the middle where I'm not happy with the way I dress, and society, supposedly, in my head at least, isn't happy with the way I dress and act and whatever. That's just silly goofy. Why am I doing this? So the obvious conclusion is that in that case, I should just be more myself, so that at least if I'm not, conforming socially and I'm, not being perceived as the ideal woman or whatever that means even. I know this shit is made up, but also our social structures are so ingrained in our brains. I feel like even though I've gone against kind of people's expectations for a while, I still find it hard, quite obviously. It does feel a little bit like I've become complacent, or I've not been vigilant enough, and I've kind of had a backslide into conforming to stuff I don't actually believe in. I'm not saying, by the way, that I want to go back to who I was at the age of 22 when I had my buzz cut the last time, or 23. Let's be honest, that's probably also not me anymore. I'm 28 now, like, things have changed, and that's also okay, obviously. This is not about finding one perfect version of myself and then staying that way for the rest of my life. I don't think that's how people work. But I do want to change how I present myself. Obviously, people's perception of me is up to them. That's not really actually something that I can influence, but I can influence what I put out. So I want to make the way I present myself match me a bit more. Again, I'm not saying that I'm completely wearing clothes that don't match my personality or something like that. It's less of a active choice towards these things, for some aspects at least. I think, for example, a lot of my clothes that are easy to put on and just like, if I want to just slap on an outfit, is the stuff where I don't have to think about how to style it because it just makes sense. Like, it's just a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. Because if I actually try to put together an outfit that like feels authentic to me and it's like really cool and it's like a nice mix of whatever stuff I like, then it ends up taking too much time and I don't have that kind of patience. So a lot of the time I think it's convenience. I feel like in a lot of ways, the reason I've had my long hair was because I wanted something that was easy, and putting your long hair in a ponytail every day is easy. But it's also pretty boring. I think it feels harder to actually make the effort and make sure that my presentation matches my personality. I think the goal is, I guess, to put a bit more effort into that. And it's kind of funny because I've recorded this before and then it was entirely rambly and kind of incoherent, and it didn't make a lot of sense and it didn't include a lot of things I wanted to say. So I re-recorded it and I took some notes to make sure I actually say the things I want to in a way that they make sense to other people. And this factor of it just being convenient to wear these clothes that just end up looking kind of very normal and not very like me, or just a very dressed down version of me, a very boring version, hadn't occurred to me until I just said them out loud. That's why I process things verbally, usually not on camera. In conclusion, I want to be more me, I guess. I want to find out what that means in my ripe old age of 28. And one of those steps was cutting my hair short. I wanted to try shorter than ponytail length, so I cut off about this much. And if I don't like it, I can always cut it shorter because I know a buzz cut works for me. I don't know if I want it more than I do, for example, this hairstyle right now, but I'm open to it. I think there might actually be a factor of, I just like the way this makes me look right now. And that's okay too. Like, maybe that means I'm not gonna get a buzz cut anytime soon. Or ever again. Who knows? It is also just a lot of work to grow your hair out if you change your mind, but it's also really fun. Like, I also really enjoyed having a buzz cut. Yeah. That was just some thoughts I've had about presentation and things like that. And if you'd like to see me cutting my hair, I did film it, so I'll put that at the end. Either way, I hope I will see you again soon. Bye bye. Okay, so before, after, needs to be shorter.